Hello and welcome back. This is Shayna, and today we're going to be doing the September layout for my bullet journal. I had asked on my Patreon, and everybody wanted an autumn woodland walk as the theme, which I kind of I picked words that seemed to fit the moods that I wanted to do and didn't really have an exact idea of where I wanted to go until I was actually sitting and sketching everything out. Obviously I knew I wanted the fall colors and kind of pathway, obviously, since it's a walk. And I don't know, I just wanted it to be very autumnal and kind of tried to invoke what I think of when I think about an autumn woodland walk. So here I'm just kind of going through and doing the outlines. It's not as easy to tell in the video, but I'm actually using, instead of black, it's this very dark brown that has kind of hints of purple once it's dried, so it's kind of a super deep brown eggplant color. I thought that would be a good outliner in place of black, because once we get a few more colors in, you'll see that this whole layout kind of took on this almost retro child's coloring book, or not coloring book, picture book type vibe, where in some places there's a lot of white space, and then just a lot of pops of the fall colors instead of completely saturating the pages with the colors, which I could have done, but I really like the way that it turned out. It makes me super happy because the pictures and the shapes and things were all super easy to draw and doodle, and it was just really nice sitting and drawing everything out. And I was listening to a really good book while I was drawing it all out and doing the coloring and everything. The book I was listening to was The Magicians by Lev Grossman, I believe. I'll link it below. It's so good. Oh my goodness, it's been a long time since I've read a book that good that's a fantasy, suck you into their world story. I really enjoyed that one and do recommend it, especially I really like the Harry Potter universe and the Narnia universe, and I'm kind of a super nerd sometimes when it comes to some of those fantasy worlds and things, and I really, really like when other books do nods towards other works of fiction. I love it when different things will riff off of something from Sherlock Holmes, and sometimes it's a really deep cut, and sometimes the deeper the cut, the more I love it. And it's not necessarily super deep cuts, it's very blatant kind of satire aimed at the Narnia and Harry Potter worlds and the Magicians, but it's really fun and it's done really well. And so even though I love both of those worlds, and you could easily look at it oh no, how could you do something to this perfect classic work of fiction, The Magicians was done in such a way that you can't help but love it, and really enjoy the fun that it pokes at some of the plot holes and stuff, because I don't know, a lot of the things that they talked about in it were things that I also had kind of thought about at the same time, and so I don't know, I'm being very vague on purpose. I don't like spoilers. Just go read The Magicians. It's super good. And the narrator is really, really good too. I really enjoyed him. I really enjoyed it. However, I will give you a heads up. I know Narnia and Harry Potter are definitely, aimed at a younger age bracket. The Magicians is not. It's like grown-up subjects and things, and there's a lot of swearing and stuff like that. So if you're not a fan of that, maybe don't pick it up. But I think it's really good, and I really enjoyed it. Anyways, back to what I'm drawing here. As you can see, we've got some trees and little bushes, and with the path, I was kind of bummed because the marker that I had for it really was dying, so I was really struggling to get some good coverage with it. But, you know, do what you can with it, and I guess most paths aren't perfect anyways, right? So we'll just go with that as kind of sort of intended. Not really, but we'll say it was. This, I was really trying to come up with a way of coloring the tops of the trees with all the fall colors without it being just like a single color or something like that. Same thing with these little bushes. Initially I was gonna just have them be kind of orangey with the little like blobs of the deep red that you saw initially, but the blobs looked like sad faces. And so I decided to turn them into what I'm calling scribble bushes. And you'll see kind of here in a minute how it actually turns out looking pretty good and not weird. Yeah. And now I'm just kind of filling in some more of the tops of the trees. I really liked how whimsical the little swooping colors were, because I don't know what fall's like where you guys are at, but I'm in South Dakota, and it's always some sort of windy here, and so I couldn't think of a walk through the woods here without thinking of like a crisp autumn breeze blowing through and kind of rustling the leaves, and you know, just kind of that little nippy breeze that lets you know that winter is coming, but it's not quite here yet. And I don't know, it's like one of my favorite parts. Even though my allergies act up and start getting a little bit miserable, it's definitely worth it some days. I really look forward to fall. I really love the summer too, but I do like that little chill breeze, and just the little bit cooler temps gets me all excited about going and getting my knitting really going and wearing all the fun cozy things and having hot chocolate and lattes and, you know, all sorts of good stuff. And you can see with those little scribble bushes that I filled them in with a bunch more colors, and they're looking less like sad little faces. They still need a little bit of love, but they're definitely looking more how I was wanting them to look, because I kind of wanted them to be like the burning bush style. But I didn't want them to just be a solid color. And like I said, kind of same thing with the trees. I wanted it to be kind of cute and fun and just, I don't know, just kind of embodying that little chill breeze that you get, plus all the beautiful colors and everything. If you watched my last plan with me, you'll notice this month I made the calendar a little bit smaller so that it fit on one page, and I did not add goals or tasks or anything. To be honest, I got a little overwhelmed last month with a lot of things, and so when I went into how I wanted to lay out this month, I decided to give myself less places to fill with stuff, if that makes sense, so that I'd have a little bit more just kind of open white space in my life, because, like, I don't know, it's just nice to have a little bit of white space and a little bit of peace and quiet, and to not be constantly trying to do all the things. And you can see here, I did not actually fill in the white ground. I guess it could look like snow, but I thought it looked nice with it just being white, with that little bit of blue sky in the background. And then I made a little tab off to the side this month too, because I had seen a couple other Bujo videos where people were using tabs to kind of keep their stuff separate, and I thought that made a lot of sense, and so I wanted to try it. It was kind of terrifying cutting my pages, to be honest, but I survived and I'm really happy with it. And then instead of doing like a 4-page spread of things I wanted to accomplish this month like I did in last month's spread, I condensed it down to these 2 pages for kind of my monthly goals. I still wanted to do my Finish Our Frog page, because I like the idea of picking one whip and making sure like that is my goal for the month to get done. Last month I finished off Snorlax for my little boy, and he was super excited. I was super excited to get it done. It was winning for everybody, and it was a really fun project. It's been a while since I'd made amigurumi toy, and I don't know, it was just enjoyable. I don't have this month's project photoed and printed out or anything, but it is going to be my fireworks sweater that I started in July, and it was supposed to be a 4-day sweater is what it was, a 4-day sweater challenge thing. I knew I wasn't going to finish it in 4 days. I don't know that I've actually ever finished. Oh, I finished one sweater. I keep forgetting about it because I don't own it anymore. But that is the only sweater I've ever finished, and I don't own it, so I keep forgetting about it. And I have 0 sweaters for myself that I've actually made and finished. I have a whole bunch of whips, and they all I stall out on the sleeves, because I have problems with sleeves and tension and everything, but I'm gonna finish it this month, so I have a sweater by the end of the month. I'm gonna be super excited because it's really cute and I love the yarn, and I'm gonna lay it all out and take pictures and add them in to my little journal here, because it's kind of nice just having a little reminder of, hey, remember you were going to finish this project, you should probably finish it before the month's over. Yeah, so I like that. I added some little leaves blowing in the wind doodles to that page, and now I'm working on my habit trackers, which again, I cut those down too from what I had kind of laid out for myself last month. Got a little overwhelming, and some of them just felt a little redundant, honestly. So now I've just got 6 of them, and I had tried to read 2 nonfiction books last month and only got most of the way through one of them. It was a really, really good one, but it takes a lot of brain power because and the book was Love People Use Things by the Minimalists, and I really super recommend it. I absolutely love it. Last month was a good month for books. The Love People Use Things was so good, but it definitely is one of those books where you are really going to get the most out of it if you actually do the work as you read the book. So each chapter has a section at the end with questions and kind of a way of processing what you've read and applying it to your own life and what's going on with you. And so it actually took up quite a few pages in the notes section of last month's journal, which I did not record making them because I was running out of my recording time when I didn't have people trying to talk to me while I was doing things. But at the end, I actually added my notes page to the very end of this month's spread. And you'll see that when I do the final flip through. But because I didn't get to it last month, I'm going to try to get through the Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi this month. to be honest, I'm kind of excited about reading it and I'm kind of not. And so we'll see. If I don't get through it this month, I think I'm just gonna sell it and be done with it. And I don't know. I've got a decent selection of books that I've collected over the years with the intent of reading them. And mentally anymore, I'm kind of just at the point where if I'm not feeling them and they're just kind of in the way, I'm better off just not having them in my space and making me feel guilty for not reading them. And so, yeah, so if I don't get through it this month, I'm probably going to get rid of that book. I mean, I can always get it from the library or something later on if I decide down the road that I absolutely need to read it. But my Goodreads to-read shelf has over 3,000 books, so I have a few to choose from that may grab my attention a bit more. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that one goes. I'm sure that there's some good stuff in it and everything. It just, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so we've got some little leaf doodles and a little bit of color added to the page. I really, really liked this little doodle for a maple leaf. It was nice and easy, and I mean, it's a doodle, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So it was just kind of fun. And then honestly, most of my weekly spreads were very much just exact copies of this. And I know last month I went into a lot more detail of writing down my little 5-minute journaling questions in each block and making space for all the things, and I had it laid out with this one gets this many rows, this one gets this many rows. And to be honest, that was a pain to draw out for each week. The doodles last month were nice and easy, but the amount of detail that I was putting into each little block for each day was awful. So I decided to not do that this month and keep the weekly layouts really super simple. Cause yeah, like I said, I just kind of needed a bit of not as much space for me to be able to fill with things that I have to do, if that makes sense. And I kind of really like this very minimal setup. I like the amount of extra white space with just kind of the hits of color. It felt like a very retro 70s color palette anyways. And I had a couple times where I was like, maybe I won't bother with the blue on this. But then it looked weird, so I really like that little just swoop of blue. Because that just kind of felt like it made the spread, if that makes sense. Because it's such a minimal spread anyways. But yeah, and this one, I don't have a task list for this week, but it's the very first 4 days are part of, they shared a week with August, so it wasn't too much. And here is our final flip through, how everything turned out. I'm really, really happy with how the colors came out and just the whole layout of this. It was really fun to work on. It made me really happy. I had a good book to listen to while I was working on it. You can't really ask for a whole lot more, right? Yeah, it was just fun to make. I really like just doing that simple border of the colors at the top of the days too. And here you can see I actually laid out all my weeks ahead of time, but I did that kind of faux Dutch door thing for the weeklies like I'd done last month, where I've got the tasks on the end there, and then it just folds open so that you can see all the way, and you can see all my tabs, each one for each week. And there's my simple review page that I'll fill out at the end of the month. And that is the first of my notes pages. I put it at the very back so I can add more notes. Thanks for watching!